Welcome back to another
Good start,
Yeah,
lovely.
good start. Talk about episode 30. Here we go. um, we got myself and Tom here. Sehab will be joining us at some point, but punctuality is not what he's renowned for. So I'm sure he'll make an appearance, but
What is he renowned for?
not being punctual. It works both ways, that doesn't it? So, but obviously, lots to recap over the last couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about Cantlay being selected as Player of the Year. A lot of debate and uproar around that versus the Rahm argument. Obviously, looking back at the BMW last weekend with Billy Horschel taking that, looking at the Ryder Cup selections and a lot of things linked to that with Brooks, Stricker, and Bryson. So lots to talk about. And guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're here now and want to see more, definitely hit that subscribe button. But we'll jump straight into the big debate over the last couple of days, which is Cantlay winning Player of the Year. What's your thoughts, Tom?
Should have been Rahm. Quite simply. He's quite obviously been the best player for the whole season. I think Cantlay's obviously had the most wins, but two of those, well, he got the last one because of the one before, just because of the way the FedEx Cup works. And then Rahm's got a major, would have won another tournament if he hadn't got COVID. Probably would have won the Olympics if he hadn't got COVID. Has shot like the best score. He's got like the best round average, best percent. He's got like the top in literally everything.
Yeah.
So
I think that's been the general consensus. That's my side as well. I think that's just what everyone's thinking.
I see why Cantlay got it, but that just seems a bit more recency bias than anything. So
well, it is. It's the same way the FedEx is. The FedEx is set up.
Can you speak today?
It's been a long day. It's the same way the FedEx is set up, isn't it? It's recency bias. Like it's the same way. But like I said, I think it's a couple of those wins. He didn't even get the lowest round score, and it's Rahm obviously won the bigger tournaments, bar the FedEx, and it's that argument, isn't it? It's the better player.
I think it's quite obvious to any viewer that Rahm's been better throughout the whole season. And then, well, it's because it's player voted for, and they're all bloody Americans, so.
But then it's like, but from what a lot of people have said, Rahm is extremely popular amongst the players, and Cantlay's a bit Marmite. He's a bit hit and miss. Like on TV, he strikes me as dull as dishwater. He seems like a boring man. So I don't really know why people.
He does seem a bit grumpy, to be fair. So I just think it's one of those, like, you're going to go for the person. They were all saying it. Whoever performed the best out of like Rahm, Morikawa, or Cantlay was going to win it just because of the recency side of it. So it's fine. Rahm will beat him in the singles in the Ryder Cup or something, and then be like, where's your Player of the Year now?
Yeah, I think they should purposely set that up just to give him something to fight back on, doesn't he? But then obviously on the flip side, Rookie of the Year went to what's his name, the young blonde kid,
Will Zalatoris.
That's the one, which I think is probably where my vote would have gone. I think.
Yeah, I don't really think there's anyone who was like. I mean, he stood out just because he'd came second in the Masters last year, and then had like another top 5 or top 10 or something in the other one. So there was not any rookies who won anything. So it was sort of had to be him, I think. So
I'd agree. And I think the only other people are obviously rookies from the previous season that have stepped up massively, like Hovland and Morikawa. Are outside of that,
Sam Burns and stuff. There.
Outside of that, nothing. And obviously Wolf has dropped off, hasn't he, for various reasons. So,
I just don't think he's amazing. I think he had the factor when he first came in because he had his funky swing, and he won a tournament. And then since then, he's not really. Yeah,
but that's what is the people's player, isn't it? That's what people like. Everyone loves reenacting it. Even the top players try and reenact his swing. It's a bit of a gimmicky thing almost, isn't it? Rather than it being
which I don't think is necessarily a good thing.
No, not necessarily. Yeah, but if it works, it works. But we'll see if hopefully he does come back. Obviously, a lot of it was mental health related. So obviously, hopefully he does recover and bring it back. But we'll have to wait and see. But obviously, this weekend as well, we had the BMW, which was another great event. And obviously, Horschel took it very well on the end, and obviously moved up very well through the Saturday. But I think it was just a very solid performance. But given most other people didn't really show up, so yeah.
And you actually went to it as well. So what was it actually like as a spectator event?
Spectator event. It's very good. Obviously, it's a very good setup at Wentworth. It's very good. The only challenge is it's one of the few courses that is in a complete loop. And the problem is you can't just, if you want to go from the 1st to the 9th, it's a bloody long walk and back. So from a spectator perspective, it's not the easiest because there are a few cut throughs, but you can't just hop from the 1st to the 14th. It's a long way, which makes it interesting, but it's a very good setup. It's a very nice club. And I found out how much a membership at Wentworth costs.
I bloody hope it was a nice club because it's like $100,000 a year or something, isn't it?
It's more now. So put it into perspective. Woburn, which in terms of a course grade, some of the courses at Woburn are ranked higher. Woburn is like your sign-up fees. I think it's about between 12 to 15 grand, and annual is about 4 grand. So to put that into context, Wentworth annual fee is between 12 to 16. Signing on fee is now 125,000.
Bloody hell.
Mental.
Wow.
Yeah, mental.
Yeah.
And it's because obviously the Chinese ownership came in, didn't they, like 6 or 7 years ago, and people pay it. So it's can't argue if people are paying it, but I think it just makes it a bit more exclusive. Hence why the BMW gets the attention it does, because in the nicest way possible, you can pay money and go play a Woburn. You can't just go pay money and play Wentworth. You can't even go as a guest. Like a friend of the guest, you have to be invited by the club itself, and it goes through a committee. It's lengthy, but I think that's why it's got the prestige it does. But it's just very well set up. It was just a shame the big boys didn't turn up. Grumpy Tyrrell Hatton was back being his grumpy self, and was 3 over through 4. So I stopped following him at that point, and we went and watched another group. But it's quite entertaining watching him get grumpy because he's become renowned for it. But no, it was good all round generally.
Good.
There you go. Other than that, not much to talk about because it was outside of Billy Horschel. It was, there was good appearance from like Laporte, stuff like that. But no,
there was a lot to play for, I suppose, outside of that, because it's Ryder Cup stuff. So a lot of people secured it and didn't. To
the right. And I think, it leads on to obviously our Ryder Cup chat next. But obviously on the BMW, Justin Rose had a very good showing and missed out on that 3-man captain selection.
I think he only missed out because I think Wiesberger got the automatic spot. If he hadn't have got the automatic spot, I don't think he'd have been selected.
Yeah, I think that's what they were saying, weren't they? I think that changed it because one of the 3 captains pick would have taken that, and then Rose would have got that. So, but what did you make of the 3 captains picks?
Well, I think you had to pick Poulter. You just have to for the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
And then I suppose Garcia's just experience. I think we've got a lot more of an experienced team. They know what they're doing. They know how to do it. Know what the weekend is. So, and then the Americans, I think they've mucked up by not picking Patrick Reed and Kisner. They don't have anyone who can actually play match play and enjoys it and cares enough to do it, which leads into all the comments that Brooks has made today, saying that he doesn't like changing his routine, having to do the dinners and relying on someone else to help hit shots in the pairs and the foursomes. So you can see the difference. I think everyone in the European team is kind of like together, like, let's do this, guys. And then the Americans are sort of like, I don't really want to be here. I'd rather be napping at this time rather than in a conference call.
It's a weird, I think it's really strange because if you ever been to America, American culture is very much together. It's camaraderie, it's patriotism. They're all in it together. But most of the ones that play golf have got no interest in being friends with anyone. They've got no interest in doing that. Like Patrick Reed, yes, he should have been selected, but yes, everyone also hates him. So and half the American fans think he's a cheat, which doesn't help. But then I saw a lot of chatter saying people thought it should have been Kevin Na and not Reed also, which was interesting because yes, he's had a good year, but he's not got the experience that Reed has. Was my thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, what you need in the Ryder Cup is people. It doesn't matter how good or far you can hit it off the tee and the fairways if you can make putts. Basically, what it comes down to, and he's probably one of the best or notoriously good putters out there.
Yeah, well, which I think that was the whole case for it, wasn't it?
Which I mean, yeah. So I just can't understand picking like Daniel Berger. No. I'm just looking now. I can't understand Daniel Berger. Scottish Scheffler, I can't really understand.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you think Kevin Na for his putting. Patrick Reed is arguably one of the best around the green in the game, and that's
best on the green. Yeah, one of the best putters, one of the best match play players in previous Ryder Cups.
Yeah, I think it's just it's weird, and I've seen lots of conspiracy theories saying, "Oh, he didn't want to play, and because of his illness, that obviously was quite bad." And he said he thought he was going to die, which is obviously quite serious.
No, I can understand from that perspective as well. But then like it's a match play event, and you have like, for example, Kevin Kisner's great at match play, or Billy Horschel won the match play event in the year.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, it's just. But then I think it seems like on paper, if you compare and contrast both teams, if you look at world rankings, the US have almost gone purely by ranking. That's what it looks like on the face of things. Like Europe have only got one inside the top 10, and it's like various things.
I think American have better players in terms of the week in, week out on the PGA Tour, actual talent and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But then again, we've won 7 of the last 9 for a reason. So
well, and you see that often outside of the Ryder Cup, the best players do not win the match play events either.
Yeah,
that's your simple way to look at it, isn't it? They do not win those events. Like then, like Koepka's comments about changing of routine, like that's half the point. It is something different. I mean, that's why it is so exciting, because it's not the normal. It's not the same routine. That's what fans like why the Solheim Cup was successful, because it was different, and it like it's the same sort of thing. So if he doesn't like that, bob on.
Yeah, he just this aside from the Ryder Cup, he also came out and said that he thinks he's going to beat Tiger's number of majors as well. So, guy seems a bit delusional to me at the moment.
Yeah, I think at his age, and he's obviously had some injuries already. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but we'll wait and see. But obviously, linked to that as well is obviously his arch nemesis Bryson's obviously come out today claiming he's absolutely wrecked his hand, was the term, practicing for the long drive competition, which is coming in straight after the Ryder Cup. So is that again another sign that the Americans aren't as interested and committed to it as maybe some of the Europeans?
Yes. Yeah. Sure answer, exactly yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so. I think he's obviously got his mind on other things. Doing that, I think building up his following and that sort of stuff is more his focus, and that's fine. But I'd be pissed. We were
saying before we started recording as well that in another sport, like we use the example of football, if a player got injured playing futsal or playing keepy uppies or whatever it might be, something stupid, like everyone would be fuming. Like it's just not. And the thing is, if he genuinely has actually hurt his hand to the point where it's going to disrupt his play, like
I think it's going to disrupt his play even if he hadn't hurt his hands. Trying to change that swing speed that much and implementing that before the Ryder Cup, like where one shot you're out of a hole and you lose a hole. It's not like you can then recover as easily and that sort of stuff. So I mean, I think it's good for long drive. They're going to get a lot more exposure and those sorts of things, but I just think it's a bit.
I agree. It's massive for long drive. It'll at least double or triple their viewing quite easily just having a name like that there, and people actually will be intrigued to see how he does against.
I'm pretty sure there would be other long drive competitions later down the line
Yeah,
that he could have entered and
well,
done.
yeah, well, I think it links in because you've got that Kyle Berkshire, who's one of the well-known long drivers, a couple of
Yeah.
world champions. I think he trains often with Bryson,
Yeah.
and I think he's the main host or lead for this one following the Ryder Cup. I think that's why he's pushed into that one. But like you said, it's no different to the tour. It happens very frequently in lots of areas. There was no need to rush it, and it's just a bit, not insulting, but it's just a bit. It shows there is a lack of care towards the Ryder Cup as there might be from other people. Like at the BMW, some of those players were working through their teeth to try and fight for that qualification and fight for that right to be on the team, and like people like that just don't really care.
Yeah.
And especially like you said,
Peterson.
Billy Horschel, who's gone and won that, is a match play pro, having won it this season, and he got like someone like Bryson who's doing that. You're just like,
yeah.
But
then again, the Americans would never do really get the automatic spots, but you wouldn't. I suppose he made some controversial picks, but you don't really want to upset the apple cart too much in the eyes of like media and all that sort of stuff. So I mean, it's all just a bit. I don't know why we have more automatic qualification spots as well.
Yeah, I did see that. I was
because we've got the European Tour and the people who play on the PGA Tour, whereas most Americans don't play on the European Tour.
Yeah, I don't
know.
I think it's a choice though as well. Like you would argue, us having more qualification spots is a fairer process because do you know what I mean? It's then not just down to kind of loyalty and popularity. It's genuinely down to your golf that season versus the Americans. Whereas I think if they had more qualification route, then it might have been less controversial because you can't really argue with that.
Mm.
So I think that's part of the reason. I think the European one's fine. I think that quality, and then the 3 captains pick, I think that's a good number. I think outside that 5 captains picks, or whatever the US has got, that's like, don't really need that. Let people qualify off their own ability. Like, yeah, it's a bit mad. But the other thing I saw today, which I don't know, how many vice captains they have.
6, see?
I think Europe have just announced their 5th.
But no, it sort of makes sense because you probably want someone out
with each group,
each pair.
Yeah, is that the plan? I don't know. Is that what they do?
It'll be for foursomes, so there'll be like 6 matches. So you'd probably want someone out for each one. I'm guessing, but
But then I'm also like, they know what they're doing, the nicest way possible.
I'm just baffled that so many opinions are going to be going into each shot. Like, so you're going to have your caddy, your playing partner's caddy, and the playing partner, and then like Phil Mickelson in the background of going, do the flop shot, do the flop shot, do the flop shot.
Did you see him flopping over Steph Curry on the weekend?
I did, yeah.
That was quite good. But then did you see everybody else try to flop over a cardboard cutout of Phil?
Yeah, they do that all the time.
Yeah,
so.
well, none of them could do it though, could they? No one can do it to the level he's doing it, which is impressive. But what are your Ryder Cup predictions then? Do you think? Well, obviously, favouritism, we know we're going Europe, but I personally genuinely think they have a much better chance than the US.
Yeah, no, I do. I think they will. I don't know what the points will be. I think it'll probably be. How many do you need to win? It's like 17.5, isn't it? Something like that.
But yeah, obviously it depends throughout, doesn't it? But I think
we'll win by like 3 or 4. Yeah, I think. Depending on how the foursomes go. I think if we win the foursomes, quite comfortable. I think we'll win the foursomes, so like the pairs won quite comfortably, alternate shot, and then the singles will probably be where the state's usually a bit better in the singles, just because
the
players have more of a better quality player and individual. Yeah. But how can you lose with Ian Poulter? Hey.
Yeah. Side note: Ian Poulter is a very grumpy man.
Is he?
Yeah, like we followed him around for about 5 or 6 holes. He riles up the crowd. He does a lot of that, but he's a very
called focus, Seb. You wouldn't know what that is.
No, he's not. There was a difference. Like we followed like Victor Hovland and McDowell and Lowry in that group. They were very focused, but very not interactive with the crowd, but very like complimentary, like saying hello, nodding. Poulter was not in a way focused, ignoring it. He was almost quite purposely ignoring people and being quite rude.
Yeah, but I imagine he was probably, because he is usually quite good with the crowd. I imagine he was probably focused on showing a good showing for the Ryder Cup, to be honest. So.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. It might have been a nerves thing, knowing that he had to show up and perform. Because, yeah, in fact, he was good with the crowd. We were on the grandstand at the 13th, which is one of the like well-known par threes there. And he made a putt that did a full 180 and dropped, and he was doing the old to the crowd as it was going in, which obviously people like and enjoy, or the older people like and enjoy it. My dad loved it. My dad was like, "Oh, look what he's doing with the crowd." It's an older people. Side note as well, younger celebs love going to the golf because the vast majority of the crowd do not know who they are and could not care. So we were queuing for a pizza about midday. Bear in mind, this is on the Thursday tournament. Behind us was Niall Horan from One Direction queuing for pizza. Nobody batted an eyelid.
There you go.
I turned around and said hello, chatted for him for about a minute. My dad was like, "Who's that?" Like the only people that recognised him were the younger people that was at the bar serving. Outside of that, no one could give a toss.
Yeah. Well,
but then I was thinking, but then if you're someone like that, it's the perfect place to go because you can go and enjoy a day and not worry about being swamped and being harassed. No one really knew who he was, which was quite interesting. I'm sure there were some other people there in a similar situation, but apparently he's a very handy golfer. So
yeah, I think he is. Yeah.
So, but I did see clips of Tom Holland, Spider-Man, hitting his driver off the deck on the 18th. You've seen that?
No.
Have a look at that. He's about 220 out, driver off the deck. This is in the Pro-Am on the Wednesday, and he's round with Podrick Harrington. And they're making a joke, and Harrington's like, "If you think you can hit a driver off the deck from here onto the green, I will put you in the Ryder Cup team." And they shake on it, and he has two shots, both come out absolute rippers. The third one is about 5 foot from the green, and his handicap's 5-2, so he's a very good player. Very good player. But watch him hit the driver off the deck is impressive, and he's hitting a big Sim 2 driver off the deck. It's impressive. Yeah, so
legend.
Have a look for Spidey doing that. So it was quite interesting. You could see Podrick Harrington genuinely concerned for a minute that he shook on that and was going to have to do something. I'm sure, obviously, he wouldn't have to, but it would be very interesting how they play it if he did get it on the green. So, but no. Side note, but final good shot on the green. Billy Horschel's shot onto the 18th on the final day was very impressive.
Yeah.
So
indeed. So
yeah, when you sit in the grandstand on the 18th, and on the Thursday we sat in there for 2 or 3 hours. Very, very, very few people hit the green. That is an incredibly hard approach shot, and most people played it safe to the
layup,
right, to the right of the green or lay up just short. But no, side note. And as you probably see, Siab has not joined us because he is just not just very not punctual, but just not very good at turning up.
Not even here. Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. But we'll wrap it up there because there is football on this evening. And we're all going to go off and do that and have some dinner. But thanks very much for watching, and we will see you next week.